And we
Hello.
are into the draft. I think.
Yes. Hopefully. All
Okay,
right. Yeah. See the timer's going. Cool.
both teams have readied.
All right, and we are here with Clown Gaming. I think it's it versus DZG. Don't know the. I saw it, but I didn't memorize it.
It's their team
DZG
is
team.
Elysium. Their team name is Elysium, so I'm just gonna call them Disco Elysium.
Disco Elysium. I'm about it. I'm about it. Disco Elysium versus Clown Gaming. It. I believe these two have played versus each other earlier this week, with DZG Elysium absolutely smashing Clown Gaming it, or a roster similar to it. So definitely seems that Clown Gaming is looking to get revenge this week, and bans are flying through. And I'm talking about the history of these
Yeah,
guys.
Hazard Zach is banned. ASOL banned on blue side is really interesting to me. Suggests that their mid laner can't play it because, in my opinion, especially at anything below pro, that pick is just unplayably broken.
Yes, and it seems like there's very limited picks into it on the side of DZG, other than the Aurelian and the Zac. There's also the Varus banned away from Sparky Human
How do you
on
feel
the
about
side
this
of.
Yumi ban? I know Yumi got a little rework, and people are mixed on whether she's broken or useless. Jarvan, early ganks coming out, but yeah, what do you think of Yumi?
I personally don't agree with banning it. I do think that it is a lot easier to deal with now than the previous version. Basically, she's being a ardent censor, but as a champion. And I'm excited to see what Silent Elements can do with this early game Jarvan.
Yeah, I really don't like picking Jarvan early. I feel like a lot of his power is into immobile. Well, I guess Clown Gaming it can just pick an immobile thing right into it. So maybe this is a scouting thing. They've scouted and seen that it likes to play a lot of immobile compositions, mages, 80 carries, other than like Zeri and stuff. Um, but yeah, if I see Jarvan, I'm not picking Senna.
The one addendum I have to that is if I see a Jarvan and I see a I pick a Senna on my team, I really want to see a Cho'Gath, and instead I see a Nunu.
Yeah, I don't hate Nunu. He can keep up with Jarvan's early ganks, and also is provides a decent front line for a champ like the Senna come late game. I do wonder if they'll pick up the Cho'Gath here on R3, or if Disco Elysium will try to pick it away. T1 showed that even in pro play, Cho'Gath Senna can just be really impossible to shove out of lane. And they scale well. Ooh, now if you're going to shove someone out of lane, Caitlyn is the champ to do it with.
Oh yeah, we see Caitlyn Lux. To me, that immediately says that bot lane wants to be up at Clown Gaming its tower 24/7, and only have the Jarvan come down when they need to go for a dragon or go for a counter gank.
Yeah, the Nunu can have some pretty terrifying ganks on the Caitlyn since her trap doesn't actually get her away from the snowball. I mean, her net doesn't get her away from the snowball. Now, Swain excels. Is that locked in? No, it's not locked in yet. Let's hope they don't.
Now it is.
Oh, Swain really struggles into long range, and Caitlyn Lux is about the longest range you can get in the bot lane. If hopefully that's a counter to what they know the mid lane champ to be, because I'm not liking its draft so far, just from a compositional standpoint.
Well, on the other side, I think the Swain here makes sense. Now you can use it as a flex pick, right? You can either send it bot lane, you can send it mid lane. In some crazy alternate universe, you can even send it top lane. However, I think in this situation, I would much rather send it mid lane, where it can do much more scaling and get into those big team fights that looks like are going to erupt with the Jarvan ulti, the Nunu ulti, the Senna ulti, and now the Swain ulti. On the side of Clown Gaming, however, the best ban they could have done now is get that Stylus off the table, because now you don't want to have a Nunu ult, you don't want to have a Swain ult, you don't want to have a Senna ult that you now have to play against.
At the risk of Mordekaiser fun ban suggests maybe more of the Cho'Gath. Although you wouldn't play it bot. I'm really interested to see where this all shakes out. Is Swain Senna a good lane? I haven't seen it, but it seems like it could be decent with Swain wanting to be up in your face and Senna queuing through him.
I haven't seen it in many moons. However, it is entirely possible that it could behave the same as the Cho'Gath. In all honesty, another scaling AP. Speaking of the Cho'Gath,
yeah, there comes the ban. Yeah. I do like Swain just in a vacuum, and between Swain and Ornn, and Nunu, honestly, their engage and ability to just fight a pitched battle is going to be unmatched. The question will be whether DZG can keep them at bay long enough, poke them out, pick someone off, that kind of thing. Because I'm struggling to see what kind of picks you could take that could actually take these champs in a mid-game 5v5. Maybe something like a Camille.
Oh, there's a Camille?
Good pick into the Ornn.
Scale aside the Ornn.
Yeah.
I'm more focused on what this mid lane is going to pick.
On the other hand,
Go ahead. Sorry. I would want something that can kind of disengage, like an Azir, something that could either find its way into the middle of this team fight, maybe a Galio.
An Anivia would be brutal here. A Galio too. Although Galio's lane into Swain is pretty rough.
Corki. We're going to see the Corki. That's actually not bad.
Just a bit of late game insurance. I still think DZG doesn't have the front line to take a melee fight, but they don't want a melee fight. Camille just doesn't have to team fight. They don't have disengage though. I don't know. I'm liking its draft more and more when I look at the squishy champs on the other side, and will the Yone come in? And the Yone is locked into the top. Wait, Yone Senna? Swain Senna?
It's Swain Senna.
Or is it Senna Ornn?
No. Knowing the players on Clown Gaming, knowing Feathers and Fur, that is his Ornn.
All right. Yone's a lot better into Camille than Ornn is, so I wondered if it might be the Ornn Senna bot lane with Yone swap to top. But Ornn is one of those champs that when you're in these team leagues, everyone wants you to be able to play Ornn. He's just so good in coordinated play. Scales like a monster. Non-committal engage from a screen away. Super tanky, deals a ton of damage. The Camille presents a pretty good split push threat, but I hope, for the sake of it, that Nunu and Ornn can just charge in and give no darns.
Yeah, on the bright side too, that Ornn his E does break the Jarvan ulti, so if that Senna does get locked in there, she does have a way out.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, CGI definitely wants to just have these big, bloody, brutal team fights, whereas DZG, with the Camille, it almost feels a little 4-1-ish, if you will. Maybe 3-2 because of that Corki as well, now thinking about it. I would have to give the edge to CGI other than that bot lane. That's my big question mark. If DZG abuses that bot lane and does it right, things can get real bad for CGI real quick.
Yeah, all of DZG's lanes can really get out of hand. If Camille gets a kill or two on the Ornn early, if Caitlyn Lux do Caitlyn Lux things, and if Corki gets ahead, we all know what a fed Corki is like. I mean, he's not supposed to do anything until 25 minutes, so when he can, it's not fun. But yeah, we'll see if we can weather the early game on the side of it. Nunu is a good pick to do that, but between Ornn and Yone and Senna, I'm kind of afraid.
More of a dog person, huh?
Yeah, CGI's team does also have some pretty good scaling with those ornaments in the Senna and this Swain and the Yone.
Right. The fact
You
that they
just gotta
were
see the execution.
the fact that they were rolled over last time, a lot of times what looks like a rollover can just be a scaling team picked into an early game team that then gets ahead and does what it's supposed to do. Often it's not. Often it's a lot closer than it looks because of the way champions interact. And I'm worried that that's what's going to happen here. I'm worried that if Disco wins, it's going to be a complete stomp.
Well, hopefully CGI learned from their previous week playing against DZG, uh, a different team from the same org. But still, if they learn their lesson from getting smashed last week, then they should be able to come into this game with fresh minds and a clear plan as to how they hopefully end up dismantling DZG.
Yeah. Speaking of plans, stuff like Ornn and Swain and Nunu all have pretty obnoxious level 1 strategy, so we'll also see if something comes out of that. Jarvan is remarkably useless level 1 compared to most junglers. Lux can have her nice Q, but Caitlyn also, other than her range, doesn't contribute much. So it'd be nice if it at least tries something, but then again, a lot of people are averse to invades because they, it's kind of like playing the Intercontinental Ballistic Missile Gambit in chess.
The hot 5 kills at 1 minute 30-second mark.
Yep. When Caitlyn comes to lane with boots, that lane's over.
Yeah, the DZG lane really needs to have that Caitlyn play to her ranges if she wants to be able to abuse Senna and Swain and not get caught by the Swain E or the Senna W, and then just told you have to sit in place for, what is it, like 3 seconds total early on with no tenacity?
Disgusting. At least it's not Morgana. Although, I wonder if it's I wonder if it's a more viable strategy to focus the Lux down, because not only is Lux squishier, she also tends to get in closer to try to proc uh, her spell thieves. So if you can land a pull on a Lux, she doesn't really have any tools to get out.
No, none except summoner spells, and hopefully Nunu should be able to abuse those being down when they are, and we are going into the spectator delay. It should
Yeah,
only be, 2 minutes?
3 minutes. We'll be back in 3 minutes. In feathers we trust. And
Sorry.
oh no, why? All I see is the overlay. Well, hopefully.
Uh-oh.
Oh. Okay. We're here.
We're
I'm,
at
I'm
a minute? All right.
I'm pausing. 3, 2, 1. And directed camera. We're off. Everything looks to be going well on the stream.
All right. Looks like it was just a simple 5-point by both teams.
Yep.
That's A-okay.
So, more podcast time for us. At least it's not like middle of the decade StarCraft where you'd sometimes have 10, 15 minutes of nothing happening anywhere. Good spacing by Yone here, managing to get some solid trades onto the court. He does take damage for his troubles, but as the melee, you're usually okay. I mean, as the all-inner, I think you're usually okay to trade a bit of health.
Yep, and I will say from a jungler's perspective, very standard start for Nunu starting on the blue side. Jarvan, however, opting to start his blue buff and instead pathing down towards bot, which means that's most likely where our first gank is going to be, or there's going to be a fight in river over that scuttle crab.
Yeah, a bit of the rough thing for Hazard here on the Nunu is you don't know where the Jarvan's going to gank. You don't want him to gank your Ornn. You don't want him to gank your bot lane, and you don't even really want it to gank the Ornn, the Yone, even though the Yone is going to scale no matter what. It looks like Hazard is coming bot for the counter gank. Or he's... Yep. Well, we're seeing heavy trading up in the top lane, being won pretty nicely by Feathers up here. So, one good point for it. Already up double the CS and has a massive health advantage. Good ward from...
There is one matchup I know of in top lane. It is Ornn versus Camille. That is Ornn favored early, but Camille favored late.
Yep.
Other than that...
Oh, is this a solo kill almost? Ooh, not quite. I think Camille has to back pretty soon, though. This is getting out of hand. Okay, it's laners laning quite well, all things considered. Camille will pick up a bunch of the CS. Can we get a soul check on Senna? Okay, only 3 souls, not ideal. We'll pick up 2 more here. The directed camera's loving this mid lane, huh?
Yep, that Yone should be looking to abuse that Corki early on, and we have been seeing it, though I don't know why Corki has walked up as far as he had at some points. And it looks like Nunu, he just got the scuttle, and looks like he's going to be heading into that jungle.
Yeah, Nunu's, ooh, good. There's a lot of stacking. Ooh, okay, is this going to be a solo kill? Nope, again, not quite. Man, this Camille is living by the skin of her teeth thanks to Grasp and that shield from her passive. Now, Jarvan's spending a lot of time bot. Oh no, that's really unfortunate. If it wasn't for the light binding, Jarvan would be way behind here, but because, man, Corki is just not spacing very well at all. But yeah, that is very unfortunate. I don't think
we see the unfortunately somewhat immobile bot lane of CGI get Jarvaned all over.
Yep. Oh, Nunu unfortunately misses a snowball there. Sort of like Scion ult can be awkward, and if you aren't perfectly used to the ranges, the collision radius. Swain will be back here in time to pick up this wave, but that's a small consolation considering how far behind. Oh no. That would have been a dead Senna if not for cleanse.
There goes the cleanse. If that's another, if she eats another Lux Binding, that could spell disaster. Close to it.
Caitlyn Lux being Caitlyn Lux.
Seconds ahead, unfortunately.
That thing seemed like it went right through Lux. Alright, well, Lux and Caitlyn, although they did start out pretty well, they didn't back when they had the opportunity, and now they're going to miss a wave of CS if it pushes it in hard. Both Camille and Corky have been forced to burn their TPs, match TP from Feathers. I don't know why. He might have taken a really bad trade, but you don't really need to back as one since you can build your items wherever you want. He is
most
up
of it,
a lot of CS.
Most of it in terms of Ornn, I know, I believe the health items don't start to give you health until you do back. So that is part of the downside of the passive.
That makes sense.
Looks like a good dragon call here from the side of Clown Gaming.
Smite fight. This is a straight 50-50 here. Yone.
No, it goes a little bit more Nunu's favor, so because of the Q, the consume.
The chomp is good. Oh! Ooh, very scary move there from Yone, but he does have the Untethered Soul. Will just pop back like he's a Zed, but on a basic ability. I almost feel like he might have been able to ult there and hit 3 people, but then there's not a lot of follow-up with Sparky Human low on mana on the Swain. So I don't blame them for not going for it. Lux was going to back anyway. You know, me being a trash Yone player, I probably would have ulted just for funsies. He does.
A little too deep.
Yeah, he seems to be knowing the limits of this champion pretty well, at least here in laning phase. Corky's landing some nice rockets. Man, that's can he ult here? Can he kill? No, just getting some poke down. Very, very patient. He is up the teleport. So maybe he was afraid of, probably he was afraid of Corky flashing out of it and then ending up under tower.
Yeah, that's one of the few spots you don't really want to be, is under that first tier tower.
Yep. I'll do a souls check on Senna next time we see it. Oh, here we go. 19 souls. Okay, so we're almost to the first range increase for Senna at 20 souls. Can she afford to pick that one up? Yes, looks like she will. It's really tricky to farm souls on Senna against double ranged. So, like we talked about in draft, it seems really awkward to. Ooh, rough sidestep there, or close sidestep there. Okay.
Now, Herald is up. I do want to see DZG make some kind of play for that with Camille and Jarvan. Ornn's right there.
Yeah, I do think that a bit of chaos going down here. Can Lux hit 6, or can Caitlyn just ult here? I'm afraid of Caitlyn just being able to ult, but looks like its spot lane will get out safely. I think it has a much stronger top side trio at this point in time. Corky especially decided to go for the Cole tier, so he really just provides almost nothing in a combat scenario. Yep, and it does. It feel like it do. Anyway, Red picks up the Herald here. We'll see. Okay, very nice. Ooh, can they actually kill the Jarvan here? If that bind hits, they might be able to. Okay. Oh, that massive shield now coming. Oh, unfortunate. The early game leveling of this junglers. Sway not being 6 yet. And not having mana for ult anyway. Looks like the kill will go over to the Dragonic here. Okay. Now he's going to ult, surely. Oh, he just did.
So, I'd say that's pretty big, Dragonic getting that first kill.
Yep. The Yone can be a terrifying scaling threat, just like the Corky. Not as safe, not as ranged, but the Fed Yone is one of the few champions that can literally 1v5 with good enough mechanics. It does take a lot of damage here, but it looks like it was all a bait. Can he get through knockup? Can't. Okay. Corky might just get out because he is Corky. Seems like this Corky's doing a lot more damage than I would expect from a Corky with nothing but a. That's not clear.
Sometimes Tiamat is all you need.
I suppose so. He's gonna back now. Might pick up a... What's he gonna pick up? Caulfield's... Okay. So, Orange's gonna back, get some mana. His teleport's back up, so he won't lose any CS, even if Camille decides to hard shove. And the bot lane seems to have stabilized while mid lane's getting ahead. So gold is still 1,000 in favor of Disco Elysium, but you know, it could be worse. Here comes a gank. Oh, beautiful bind by the Lux, just neutralizes that entire gank. And now the counter gank. I don't know if you want to be fighting this 3v4, but it looks like Jarvan has some. Oh. Ooh, make sure to stand in front of the Caitlyn ult. They should have enough wave clear to be safe here. But...
Yeah, especially with everybody down there, though the question becomes, what's going to happen with this dragon? Are we going to see them go for it now? Are we going to see them just go for it a little bit later?
I imagine with the health advantage, Disco does go for the dragon now. I don't think Yone can do anything as low as okay, actually he's not that low. He's managed to heal up with that Vamp Scepter. Okay, fully channeled. Oh no, not fully channeled. Good knockup. Good play from Yone here, but he's basically the only saving grace, but that might just be enough. Wow. And it does win the fight solidly enough to be able to pick up the second Drake. We'll see if Caitlyn Lux can steal with some sort of trickery, but yeah, oh, there's no smite. Okay. This is kind of scary. They're drawing it out. Why are we focusing top lane? Come on, directed camera. Oh, and Lux does steal the Drake. Now that's just tragic. It's when the fight goes to nothing. They're still down 1,000 gold, and they don't get the Drake. Man, looks like Nunu wasn't even coming. He was just going mid to make sure the Corki loses that wave.
Lux ulti OP and having no smite also OP.
Yeah. I wonder.
I'd still say this game is very much up in the air.
Definitely, this Herald should equalize the gold with 2 more replates picked up by the mid jungle duo here. Warren even roamed down just in case there was some opportunity to do something, but yeah, Warren's up farm a little bit. Hazard is up farm quite a bit on this Nunu, has been dutifully clearing his camps except for that extended play bot lane. It's really just this Swain that is suffering, but as long as bot lane tower doesn't fall before second Herald, I think it is pretty okay in this lane. Caitlyn gets stuck here, and this should be a dead Caitlyn, surely. Oh, that's just tragic. That's tragic. Yeah.
Oh, the Corki, I didn't see that on the mini-map.
Corki comes blazing in from behind. Well played by it to try to get a bit of space away from the Corki, but he has the package, and the package is pretty much a guaranteed play. Nice soul collection by Senna here. We'll see if Hazard goes for another gank bot lane after clearing his blue. They're clearing the wards pretty well. You can get around this last plant easily, so...
And my biggest question is how are they going to stem this bleeding that they have going on with the Corki now being up 2-1 and fairly ahead. I wouldn't say completely ahead in items versus the Yone, but from what I'm seeing, Yone has a completed shield bow, whereas Corki has a vampiric scepter. Almost done with his cull. That's pretty much going to spell another item.
Camille should be able to just get away. She is Camille. I don't know how she didn't get knocked up there. Very well played from Camille. Dodges both the Ornn ult and the Nunu ult in one fell use of her own. So that gank will come out to nothing. She has completed her... this is not good. His shield row is out. Can he do anything with the... No. Oh, and things just going wrong across the board for it. Hazard having to flash out. Swain dying on the bot side. He's now 0-4. And Yone, man, I just know this feeling from solo queue. When you're the only one on your team doing well, and then you get killed and there's a shutdown going over to the enemy team, just feels unfair.
Yep, it looks like DZG is starting to get the ball rolling, getting objectives across the board.
With all these towers.
Yep, that's going to be bot tower falling. It's also going to be maybe mid tower falling. Either way, we're going to start to see the gold accelerate very quickly for DZG.
If mid tower falls here, I think Corky can just back and get a... Actually, let's check. What's the hotkey for that? X? Yeah. Okay, Corky can't quite get his Muramana, but okay. Very nice. Wow. This is the power of Kalen Lux.
Yep, I told you they were going to be shoved up in that lane almost the entire time, and
yeah.
Behold, they're doing exactly that.
And even the tank Nunu tries to come in, tries to do something, just gets deleted by the combo.
And the worst part is, Draconic does pick up the Lux, but there's no shutdown. It's just a support dying for a tower / I guess aggroing a blue buff.
Yeah. I mean, it's something back. Like we did talk about, their main goal is, objective, survive. I don't know what game that was originally from. Was it PlanetSide 2?
No, that was from Halo Reach, the final mission. Objective, survive.
Really? Huh.
Yes.
How do you like Reach, actually? Have you played the Halos?
Yes, 3 was my favorite in terms of multiplayer, but that's also what I grew up on, so...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard a lot of mixed opinions about Reach. Mid lane has rotated, or bot lane has rotated mid here to try to get down this last bit of mid tower. Okay, Caitlyn gets bound here. Can she get killed? An exhaust goes down onto Yone. Very nice. Combo from 4 members of it just takes down this Caitlyn through all the defense, through the exhaust, through the Lux shield. And that's what we need. Trading back onto Feathers and Fur here is Camille. With the Divine Sunder completed, it's just really hard for the Orin to get meaningful trades. But with another dragon going over to I think they should be able to live long enough, surely. They've only lost 1 tower. And the earliest you could possibly get Soul is like, what, 30 minutes now?
I believe so, but at the end of the day, I think the team that ends up getting the most dragons early on is going to end up having a much easier go of this game. The Nunu lands a snowball from what I see, but no follow-up. Unfortunate for Clown Gaming.
Yeah, he knows what happened last time. He tried to go in on the Lux with her bind up and the Caitlyn nearby. Yeah, well, if that Infernal Drake hadn't been stolen away by the Lux, oh no. Whew, Senna does survive this time. But, man, even in the mid game, that Caitlyn Lux just murders you if you get hit by a binding. Yone pushes out the bot lane. What do you want to see from Clown Gaming in the next, let's say 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes?
In the next minute, what I would really like to see is them set up a defensive line of wards. They need to give up that mid tower. They need to set up a defensive line of wards that make sure that they cover as many entrances into their jungle as they can, and they can start to look to constantly pick the Lux.
Yep, and we just saw it happen right then as you were answering. Mid lane tower did go down on the red side, but I believe without any local gold going over. So that's some gold that they were going to get anyway. I think we're very... There's a funny dance happening in the bot lane. Party's getting decent damage on the tower, but it looks like Blue's mid lane tower will go up pretty soon too. Can they kill the Corgi here? I actually don't think they can without ult. Yeah, without the ult on the without the ult on the Swain, this Corgi is a menace. this back should give him that Muramana that just explodes his damage potential.
Oh yeah, we're gonna see those rockets hit like, well, a rocket.
Yeah, it's not rocket science. Just call it like it is. Okay.
Although I do think Clown really just needs to play this game a little bit slower and stop trying to force fights. I think they just need to look for those picks and allow for that Swain, that Senna, that Ornn, everybody to just scale up to where they can just group as 5.
Yep. Lux actually misses the second detonation on the E, and Jarvan also misses his Q. So 2 kills there that could have gone over with Caitlyn ult available. And Gale... Oh, Gale Force not finished. That's Kraken Slayer on Caitlyn. I guess into the Swain you like Kraken Slayer. But that does mean she's going to be a lot more vulnerable in these fights against stuff like the Ornn and the Nunu. And even the Yone from Dragonic.
Yep, and now we are coming up to, what, 22-ish minutes?
Yeah, just about.
I'm a little behind, and that's all right.
Yeah, the game's starting to look better and better for Clowns the longer it goes on. They're getting farm. Again, the Swain has sort of reached his one item that lets him do damage. If he just doesn't die because of ult, he buys a stopwatch maybe before next dragon fight, they should already be to the point where DZG just can't win team fights without severely outplaying. Ornn has somehow managed to maintain his CS lead, actually.
It's only a matter of time before Clown Gaming gets there, so what DZG needs to really do is start trying to accelerate this game. That Jarvan should be trying to find way more picks on, like, the Nunu, the Senna. Instead, oh, there's a flash from Caitlyn. That means that there is no gank mid.
Yep.
Instead, what we're seeing from DZG seems to be a more let the Camille just split approach, which I don't really agree with.
I think you might be a little bit behind where I am. I just crested 2305.
23. Okay, I'm going to try and get a little bit... Oh, that's not the right button. I'm going to get a little bit ahead.
2315.
Oh, man, I'm, like, right there. Let me slow
Okay.
down this playback.
Ooh. Jarvan does block the ooh. Oh, man, Caitlyn flash forced earlier by a snowball. Lux flash forced just now. And Jarvan's going to have to try to 50-50 this dragon. If they can stop him, it should be a third dragon all the way over to it. Now, it's unfortunate that it's a Cloud Soul, but I guess Cloud isn't terrible for when you have Spooky Human on the Swain. Swain loves movement speed.
Not just Dwayne, I'd say the Yone ulti as well, not to mention maybe the Ornn ulti.
They do end up giving it over for one, possibly 2 mid lane towers. We'll see if DZG can stop them from taking it out. It looks like they'll just run away after taking that mid lane tower. So they can probably get the inside track to top lane here and force the top lane tower down, but I don't know. I feel like I would have preferred the third dragon. Camille's back does not get
it is also just a Cloud Soul, so it's not like it's something that you can give up in exchange, in this case, for gold. Gold that's just sitting on the field. Uh-oh, Draconic, I don't know about this one, Mike.
Oh my word.
Maybe you know more than I do, because you just chunked that poor Corky. That's what I was trying to think of.
If Baron gets aggroed onto Senna here, they could go down, but nothing actually triggers the Baron, despite all that fighting right in his pit. And Senna Q's, gets back her health, and Swain should be able to pick up these honey fruits to, yeah, just do a healthy Baron. Man, this directed cameras. Oh, don't die there, Yone.
Direct-to-camera's going crazy, and that is exactly what Clown Gaming's team wants to do. It's those big 5v5 team fights.
That was a beautifully layered Ornn ult right on top of the Nunu ult, and although one managed to flash out of it, That's still a lot of damage, a lot of people just forced out, and then Camille's diving in 1v5. So yeah, there's 2 engage and then 3 people who want to kite back and poke. There's a bit of a comp, what would you say, mismatch, a bit of a comp, poor identity on DZG's side, where the Camille and the Jarvan just don't function in team fights the way the rest of the team wants to.
I mean, yes. So you have the Corki, you have the Lux, you have the J4. That's all going to go in, with the exception of Corki being able to go out. But when he has package, he wants to go in, and that Jarvan ulti keeps people locked inside that Corki package. Whereas Camille just feels kind of like an afterthought of like, oh, this counters Ornn, so we're going to pick it.
Mm-hmm. And I actually don't think Camille does counter Ornn as hard as, as hard as it may seem at first. Especially with the pieces around them, I think a lot of the advantage of Camille over Ornn is Camille's one of the few bruisers that Ornn can't just stay in the way of. Camille can always find a way. Okay, Corki just barely gets out here, but he is safe. Bind hits, but Senna's just keeping everyone healthy, no matter how much damage they take. Bit of an aggressive trade going in from Dragonic on the Yone, but things settle down.
Sorry to point this out, friend, but I believe you must have hit K or something and brought down the scoreboard.
Yeah, I have the scoreboard down to have more space during team fights. But the team fight's over now, so let's bring that back up.
Sorry about that, had to point it out. Either way.
2v1 in the mid lane. Looks like Ornn will be dead.
Yeah, it's interesting that they're making the decision to go onto the Ornn when there are 4 bot lane.
Yeah, it looks like the Swain also was in a 1v2, while 3 members of it were kind of waffling back and forth in the jungle. Bit of a shot calling error miscommunication from it. I don't know that you can blame it on any one person, but it is unfortunate that one of their members is killed and the other's chunked out so bad they have to leave. Yone is massively fed at this point, has completed his IE, has 100% crit, or 80% crit? No? Yeah, 80% crit. Will be building that Death's Dance to help against the Camille, the Jarvan, the Caitlyn damage coming through, and even this Corki build does a reasonable amount of physical damage. Man, this Nunu is getting hit by every Lux Q. Can't blame him, of course. His movement is extremely telegraphed, but yeah, you can see the benefit of skill shot hard CC into Nunu.
Yep, this is going to be a big team fight that we're going to probably see with being Dragon's Soul coming up or is up. I can't really tell because of that wonderful control ward is not up yet, at least on my screen. Yeah, Corki has teleport going top lane, so it's all
looks like Dragon is up. Looks like Dragon is up. It is in much better position to take this with Corki pushing on the top side. He does have the Unleashed teleport, and okay, a bit of an awkward. Wow. Even the Fed Yone can't manage it, but they do sacrifice him for the dragon. So, all things considered, it is managing to get more time to scale. I don't love the gold going over to Camille and so on, but, you take what you can get. Big snowball.
Little victories, you get a dragon to trade for, goes nowhere.
Alright, let's have a Senna soul check. Senna has 86 souls, so does have that level 80, or that 80 soul mark that people talk about as absolutely vital for Senna. One of the things about Senna's range is she really can't function without it. Her slower auto-attack animation means that if she can't stand far enough that you actually can't hit her, she can't safely walk up at all. Can Ornn ult here? Yes, looks like he can. Oh, somehow only hits 2 people with that. I thought he might be able to hit all 3. But the flank from Dragonic comes in, kills the Corki, kills the Caitlyn, and they should be able to push down at least one tower, if not two.
I
Okay.
believe they can go forward too. They do have the Orns demolished. That pretty much erases one tower. Oh, that Yone got deleted by the Camille.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yone dies in one auto from Camille, but Swain doesn't have ult, but he does survive. Ornn is just monstrous in the front line. If only the Senna can step up and do damage against the threat of Camille and Jarvan, both. They both use their flash, so if Senna's tracking that, she could step up a little farther, but yeah, without any consistent damage left, it decides to walk out. Fortunately, I don't think Disco can take the Baron off this. They will get vision control, but Alles gut. Alles gut. And Yone's back on the map.
I mean, so it's interesting now that the gold is still just about tied, even though Cloud Gaming is up 2 kills, and that all comes down to those shutdowns that Dragonic kind of just gave away both times.
Yeah, the shutdowns and all the turret plays. Despite losing lane fairly hard in the bot lane, it did manage to pick up a lot of turret plates, both bot lane and mid lane. So being up in gold is surprising. They do steal away the blue buff here. And what we're seeing is that there is a teamfight win condition for Disco Elysium here. They do have more members with consistent damage. Their consistent damage might be not enough to overcome the tankiness, but if you can kill the Yone and eventually the Swain, there's really not a lot it can do, either in taking objectives or in just killing the Camille.
Yeah, as long as you delete the backline of CGI, you can really just ignore the Nunu. You can't ignore the Ornn past that. And all DZG needs to do is commit that Camille dive, commit that J4 dive. So as long as they get their flanks off, it's really just should be a one and done team fight for DZG.
1459 damage from that Caitlyn crit headshot. Kind of scary. Kind of scary. Has completed her 3 items, has the Infinity Edge online, and did go for that higher damage build that can even puncture through tanks at this point. I think Lux is just dead here. Ooh, very nice Cataclysm on the Jarvan, or on the Nunu to stop him, but Caitlyn still dies, and I think... Nope, Lux does get away. But Caitlyn dies for nothing, and that should mean that this dragon goes over to it. They didn't expend that much either. They still have Ornn ult, they still have Senna ult. Flash, yeah, I guess Flash is... Wait, did he just flash? It looked... Can't go back, but it looked like Swain just wasted Flash, or had to dodge something.
All I can say is that pressing the wrong button does happen to the best of us.
Yep. Corki does get out.
Oh.
Very easy to get out. We have the Valkyrie and the package. So it does have to back off at the moment. The dragon is not theirs after all, because they tried to go for Baron instead of getting vision. Wow, Camille just explodes. Very incredible use of the stopwatch, but Senna gets like 2 4-man or 3-man Qs there, and it just wipes the floor in that 5v4.
That goes to show the power of the Caitlyn, because, man, without that Caitlyn, there was just not enough damage to punch through those front lines.
Yeah, and Camille bought an incredible amount of time with the stopwatch, with the ult, the everything, but it just wasn't enough when you can't punch through Ornn. Nunu going on a merry ride. I think he's tanky enough to just tank this tower for however long he likes, and it looks like it will win the first game. They survived the early game, they got the gold, They lost the dragon, but their objective control was just much better. Both junglers were not as visible as we typically see pro junglers being, but man, the team's shot calling, the team's macro was just much cleaner.
And it would say the micro on the side of Clown Gaming, it was pretty well too. The target calling, the picks that they found, and overall, a very I wouldn't say very clean. It had a little bit of sloppy moments, but a victory for Clown Gaming it nonetheless.
Yeah, and they played to their win conditions. Something that some of the earlier clown squads lacked was understanding their win conditions, and I think having this team be around for such a long time, having the time to develop talents, to develop teamwork, really shows that they're playing as a team. They're not just playing as 5 players in a more formal clash queue.
Yep, that's the power of a team that plays frequently together.
Yone,
So,
go ahead.
going into game 2, what would you change if you were on the side of DZG? Would you change your bans at all?
No, I think the Zac does have to be banned against Hazard. The man has a ridiculous win rate on it, both in solo queue and in competitive play. Plus, Zac is, I mean, if you ask me, the nerfs weren't enough. He got triple nerfed, and he's still one of the best champions if you can't punish him in the first 6 levels, first 3, 4 levels even. Other bans coming through was it was a top laner, right? Who were the bans? Varus and Aurelion Sol. Okay, yeah. Actually, I would like to assuming they're on blue side, assuming they pick blue side again, I would like to see the Aurelion Sol ban dropped. What do you know about the Varus ban? Other than he's a strong laner who can stand up to Caitlyn Lux.
It's also, I mean, what I know, I don't know too much about the Varus ban. Personally, I just know that it's a very, what's the word I'm looking for? Flexible champion. You can build him AP, you can build him poke, you can build him on hit. He does have an ulti that does CC and it does expand CC. There's many reasons, good reasons to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I suppose so. They ended up going for the Swain Senna, which makes me think maybe they're not going for a traditional AD carry setup in the first place. So maybe the Varus ban could be dropped. The Cho'Gath and the Alawi coming through in the second phase, I think were fantastic. You could probably just move those to the first phase if you're willing to first pick the Aurelion Sol. If you can play Quarky, surely you can play Aurelion Sol.
I mean, now hear me out. Could be conspiracy big brain thinking here.
I'm listening.
CGI picks the Senna. They have absolutely zero intention on drafting the Cho'Gath, but they know that Feathers and Fur does play Cho'Gath. So they just leave it there. I'd get a free ban for nothing.
CGI picks the Senna or DZG picks the Senna?
CGI picks the Senna, and again, they just leave it for, DZG to go, hey, we don't want to play against Senna Cho'Gath, even though CGI has zero intentions on picking it whatsoever.
Okay. If Cho'Gath gets banned, Alawi gets banned, let's say they add Ornn to the ban list.
Well, I mean, Feathers and Fur does have a wider champion pool than most people give him credit for. Everybody knows he is the Alawi guy and the Ornn guy now. But there are other picks that I'm not going to say on stream, as even though I do know them, that Feathers can fall back on.
Yeah.
And does have strengths that he can play to those champions. If I was DZG, my biggest focus point and where I would see the biggest problem would be mostly towards that middle lane of Dragonic 70 and the bot lane of just the absolute big question mark of they can just pick the Senna and then match anything to it. You probably want to take that off the table. It would be the most likely scenario. However, DZG does have they have a variety of coaches. I was there for a short time. I do know that they are there. So who knows how they'll change up the game plan.
Now, from the side of CGI, do you want to see this Yumi ban dropped? It seems to me the only one that sort of sticks out. If they're not comfortable playing against it, um, maybe they see it as a counter to the Senna bot lane strategy, since you can't farm souls as easily. But
Oh, sorry, I was just informed. Happy birthday to Occupational Hazard. I'm sorry that you have to play League on your birthday, but either way, uh,
hey,
just want that to get thrown out there and said to you.
you got to win. Birthday present.
Either way, yeah, no, I do think that we'll see some very good adaptations from the side of DZG and how they want to move forward with this series. My biggest question is: are we going to see a mix-up from Cloud Gaming? Are we going to see them do a 4-1 or a 3-2 comp? Or are we going to see them do a heavy disengage? You know, what changes are we going to see from both sides going forward?
Yeah, I think Cloud Gaming can work pretty well just as they are, especially if Hazard has a better game like he usually has. Uh, they should be their laners seem to be perfectly competent in the matchups, even into stronger laning picks. So if Hazard manages to pick up where he usually does on a champ like, say, like if they pick the Jarvan, or if Zach gets unbanned somehow, or even a Sejuani or something. Okay, second game is starting, so our second game is starting soon. Eventually.
The lobby is there. We just need you to get here, my friend.
I am in. Oh, Feathers and Fur is on blue side. Feathers and Fur is Cloud Gaming, so they swapped sides. Interesting.
Yeah, that is typical in most scenes, in most tournaments that you do swap sides after win or loss. Typically, it'll be their first game is set, and then loser gets to pick which side they want. So that means most likely that DZG has opted to go to red side. They want those counter picks.
Right. That's why I found it so surprising. I think most teams in pro play are preferring first pick, and even in solo queue, as a mid laner, if I see first pick on my team, I know I can pick ASOL, or I don't have to ban ASOL. If I don't have first pick, I feel like I have to ban that guy just in case.
I do agree. ASOL's going to remain pretty much permaban throughout the series. Still very broken champion. Still very relevant, at least in mid lane. However, it does come down to, I'd say, jungle. I do want to see Occupational Hazard on something a little more
Robust.
proactive. No,
Yeah.
I would say proactive. I want to see more ganks. I don't want to see another farming Nunu. Granted, in the middle and late game there was nothing but fighting, but still, maybe they opt to take the J4 on blue side. Maybe they opt to grab. I'm trying to come up with something. The Trundle, the Amumu, a Stylus even. Maybe they pick that early and force him to not pick any good ultis.
All right, we are into the next draft. So here we go.
I believe we're just waiting on DZG.
Yep, no ready yet, but that's all right. The podcast can have another episode.
Yeah, I mean, getting back to the earlier topic, yeah, Halo Reach. By far, I think my favorite in terms of storyline. Multiplayer, however, I'm still a Halo 3 fan, deep down.
Fair enough. Now, I grew up in third world countries. Well, I'm technically second world countries. So I barely knew what video games were. I barely knew they existed till I came to the States. And it was at a tennis camp that I first like played a shooter. It was Halo Reach. And I just thought, man, this is the craziest thing. You just run around shooting people. Like this game is gonna breed psychos. But I've since come to appreciate the fine art of video gaming. And Halo Reach will always have a special place in my heart for being the one game that I played at tennis camp, knowing nothing about shooters.
Halo 3 custom mode lobbies. It was just a big, pardon my language, clusterfuck of what is going on. Why is this happening?
Oh man, don't get us canceled.
Nah, not for it. I would not do that to clown gaming.
All right, I don't know what the holdup is. DZG is just not responding. Well,
Those coaches really giving them a talking.
I guess so. All right, back to the StarCraft strat then. Talk about movies, talk about games, talk about the pizza that you ordered last night. Eaten anything interesting recently?
I wish, but not in the slightest.
I have. My parents are hosting a refugee family from Ukraine, and so I visited them, and the Ukrainian food is really, really good, really good. So a lot of variations on meat wrapped in dough, which is
I was about to ask.
about my favorite thing ever. You know, there's the borscht, the beet soup that turns your insides red. There's buckwheat pancakes that you put like feta cheese and jam and whatever inside and roll them up.
Okay.
Oh, looks like we're getting somewhere. So, oh, what is this?
Please let us start.
Okay. Production is ready. You know what champ I haven't seen in a long term that I'd like to see?
Right.
When's the last time you saw an Ivern in your games?
Not since Anderson Cooper was playing.
Anderson Cooper. The college?
Nope. It is a player that in competitive who was known for his Ivern play.
Huh.
However, I've not seen him in quite some time. Is what I will say.
Ah. I won't ask any more questions.
Well, I don't know anything past that. So just hit him.
Yep. You know, sometimes you're curious, sometimes you don't want to dig too deep.
Exactly my thought process right there.
Yeah. So what role do you play? What lane? Or lanes?
I have the most competitive experience on jungle. However, the last few seasons I've been playing top lane and now looking to go back to jungle.
All right. Well, it looks like draft is going. So, you can talk some about jungle pathing when we get in game. But for the moment, we have the Diana ban, we have the Yumi ban. Let's see if we get the Amumu ban. Varus ban again. Zac ban, pretty guaranteed. ASOL ban seems like if they ban it on blue side, surely they ban it on red side. So we may just see the exact same bans again.
I mean, if you come in with a plan that you spent a while doing, might as well stick to it, even if it failed one game. Could just execute it better game two, I suppose.
That's a good point. I do think the draft from Disco last game was really hard to execute. If you don't, it's one of those games where you can snowball really hard in any lane, but if you don't, it gets pretty difficult. And we saw that Clown Gaming had the team play to make up for their bot lane. They had the mid lane pressure. They had even the top lane going more than even. I, if I was Disco Elysium, I would try to pull out something a little easier to execute.
I mean, unless you think if you think you can match team fight for team fight, I'd say go for it. If yet is where you have your hangups of trying to match a team fight like Clown Gaming's, then I think your best bet would either be. I think your best bet would then be going for a split push, and I mean a solid split push, and commit to it. Don't do any of this, you know, looking like you have a split push comp and still trying to commit to a big dumb team fight.
Yeah, and man, Zac was not banned. Ilawi was banned in place of the Zac, and Hazard on Zac is just a terror. I I mean, I kind of think my pet rabbit would be a terror on Zac, but especially Hazard. You just don't want to give Zac to this guy. So I'm already pretty excited for it. Pretty scared for Elysium. Poppy is an interesting counter to the Zac directly. We'll probably see it in the jungle, but always the off chance of it going into the top lane. Poppy, sloppy toppy. Whoa, 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 whoa! Don't get us canceled again. Um, family stream and all that. But yeah, spam the clown, says Drew the OT. Spam the clown to make gamers frown. What? Why would we want to frown? Make the enemy team frown. Rakan is an option here. Take it away from the Xayah, but Xayah works perfectly fine with pretty much any support. I kind of think Xayah is one of the most generic AD carries in as far as role in a composition. She provides some CC. She's pretty safe. She works with Engage. She works with Peel. She works with Enchanters. Seraphine, on the other hand, is much more of a scale and group up kind of thing. And paired with the Caitlyn, you have a long range lane. Less burst potential than Caitlyn Lux, but just as much poke, if not more. So let's keep an eye on this.
Yeah, I mean, you guys taking that Caitlyn away, though I don't. So I was a big advocate for Poppy Jungle. It was one of my favorite things to play. I do think that she is a lot weaker right now than she used to be.
For sure.
Because if she wants to be able to counter that Zac, she has to know where she needs to be every single time.
And Silas gets picked up before he gets banned in the second phase, like last game. Silas is a terror, still enormously strong, very good with Seraphine ult. We'll see what Clown Gaming wants to play into this Silas, but it's also really hard to take advantage of him in lane. Maybe a Pantheon or something could work, but well, I'm really interested to see what they pick into this Silas, because I have this weird hunch that the game's going to hinge around the mid lane between the Poppy and the Silas and the Zac.
Yeah. I mean, really, the two best ultis that Silas has to steal right now are going to be the Seraphine Caitlyn. But picking it so early also kind of pushes against CGI picking any more ultis that Silas would, want to take. It kind of dissuades that. That's the word I was looking for earlier.
Right, dissuades the Ornn for sure. Dissuades even stuff like the Cho'Gath can be kind of scary to pick into Silas. Okay, so Anivia and Cassiopeia banned out. Very interesting. Anivia is understandable. Zac, what's that?
It looks like that DZG is getting rid of scaling mid laners, that they're going to try and push CGI to pick something a little more mid-early game focused, perhaps.
Yeah. Although I think a mid-early game focus wouldn't even be bad for it here. You have the Seraphine, Caitlyn, who are both going to be terrors on 4 items. The Zac is just, strong all game, but becomes basically unkillable at 3. I think with just this 3, you have damage, you have peel, you have heal, you have tank. If you can get to a reasonable state without losing too many objectives, I really like what it has put together so far. But now we'll see. Now we'll see for sure what goes up against this Silas. Ooh, Set. Now, Set top is probably stronger overall, but I would love to see Set into the Silas. It's just disgusting. Silas wants to dash into you to, do any of his trading, and Set is having none of that. You can put your W up when he tries to stun. You can tank a bunch of his stuff and then wait till his dash is down. There's a lot of ways to play this out, and it does not go well for the Silas.
Yeah. I guess now it comes down to the biggest question being is what are we going to see out of that answers that Feathers and Fur locks the Urgot blind pick. And my biggest, I guess, complaint from CGI being that there is an abundance of AD with Set, Caitlyn, Urgot, and the only APs really coming from Zac are going to be the Demonic Embrace and Seraphine. I guess she can build AP.
Yeah, Seraphine, one of the downsides of damage Seraphine is you often overlap the Haunting Guise trigger with your mid laner, given how popular it is right now. But with a AD mid laner like Set, AP Seraphine becomes a lot more viable as a low eco magic damage option. Dr. Mundo into Urgot, I don't know how that goes. Do you have any idea?
I want to say it's neutral until Urgot finishes a Black Cleaver.
That was my instinct. It's hard for me to picture how Mundo kills Urgot, but eventually there comes a point where you just don't deal with Urgot in a slap fight. Mundo does kind of fill out the composition pretty well, though, for DZG Elysium here. Between the Xayah Rakan, you have some solid early pressure. You have a top laner who doesn't really die. You can't be even CC'd by the Zac E. So, should be pretty safe up there. If Poppy just camps the Silas and maybe goes bot sometimes, I like the Elysium's draft more than I thought I would. And it can definitely be played out come late, even though I do think it is pretty hard to beat.
My biggest question is the Poppy.
Yeah. Can the Poppy be where she needs to be? Poppy's so cute, man. Poppy's got to be one of the best champs in League of Legends. She's not that frustrating to play against. She's fun to play. She shapes the draft in an interesting way, but isn't like game warping. Like if a Yone or something is picked, that warps the entire game. But or a Silence. I really like Poppy. I wish she'd come back into pro play. That's a lot of clowns in the chat.
Spam this clown to make gamers frown, baby!
Alright, I'm only seeing one person spamming clowns, and it's us. Hey, there we go. Spam the clown. Well, as we go into the next 4 minutes, did you see Faker's set mid game this season?
No, I have not. Unfortunately, I have not been able to keep up in terms of pro play, mostly due to work.
Yeah.
But all is fine and dandy. If I can even get to see a resemblance of it from Dragonic, it should be absolutely glorious.
Yeah. The set mid game from Faker was absolutely ridiculous. They had Elise jungle, who, like Zac, is pretty good at tower dives. What they did was, and I believe it was even into a Silas, although I'm not entirely sure about that. But the set just pushed in level 3. They went bot and dived level 3. Dove level 3 with a Caitlyn and then a pusher. I think it was Caitlyn Karma or something. And then level 4, they did the exact same thing right again. Bot just couldn't play the game. They just four-man dove them over and over and over. Sent can tank tower shots with his W. Zach can tank tower shots with his passive, assuming he actually gets out of the range before the last tower shot connects. So if they go for a strategy like that, I love to see it. Could just be a lane counter though.
I mean, it does seem like they just kind of there was just some kind of like, oh, this is a good counter versus this. Might as well pick it. From some of that going on here. But other than that, well, you just have to wait and see.
Yeah, Poppy's pathing I think is going to be a lot more important than Zach's, at least in this early game. If Zach doesn't get any ganks off and Poppy doesn't get any ganks off, I think it is perfectly happy. Even though Zach is a fine ganker, he's also okay with just farming. I think Poppy has to be making stuff happen, enough stuff to counter a just farming Zach or a ganking Zach. But yeah.
Only way to find out is to wait and see in this game 2 of Cloud Gaming It versus DZG Elysium. You even got me starting to call it Disco Elysium.
We'll be back in just about 3 or 4 minutes.
All
And
right,
we're back.
We're back after that.
So,
Looks like a
hope
standard
you got a good nap in
5
there.
Oh yeah, it was great. You know, the best 3 minutes of my life.
Mm-hmm. Hey, it's what they call a power nap, right? Looks like a good 5-point from everyone again. With the Seraphine having a Spell Thieves in contrast to Rakan, would like to see that her poke in a bit, try to get some of that free gold, but you know, it's nothing to be too upset about. You can, if you start the lane with 40, 60, 80 gold, it can be a pretty serious advantage on first back, depending how the lane goes. But yeah, we'll see. Looks like everybody will just go peacefully to leash. And actually, we're seeing set top. Huh.
Looks like they're swapping lanes. Does make sense. Set does perform fairly well into Mundo as well. Because, I mean, on paper, it's the same things. Silas wants to dash into you. Urgot goes, haha, here's my shotgun knees of death.
That's true, I suppose. And Set Set does okay into Mundo. It's with the auto attacks and so on. But I don't think it's that much better. We'll trust Clown Gaming. Set getting some good trades up here. Draconic also trading well with Gopamine in the mid lane. Did take the Corrupting Potion, which means he has to... Ooh. Did take the Corrupting Potion, which means he has to play a bit more aggressively, make use of that for the lack of actual stats, bites in the butt. Takes a double Q there, but is poking down the Silas, and the Silas, like you said, the Silas has to go in if he wants to heal. So, into either of these champions, going to be a bit of a painful lane. Oh, Poppy coming around for a gank. Silas, oh, that's not good, and that should just be a, oh! Yeah, I thought he might get out there, but nope, Silas flashes, and that's just an easy first blood for the Poppy.
Yeah, that's the big downside is you gotta watch where your wave is, especially with the Poppy around. You get too close to walls, you get too far up, and...
Yeah. The Zac does get a slight farm advantage from that. He should be able to get to the Scuttle first, or top lane, whichever one he wants to engage in. Bot lane's going perfectly fine for the Xayah Rakan, despite Rakan constantly missing his W. So we'll keep an eye on that. It is after first back that Kaelin gets really aggressive, but good signs so far for the Xayah Rakan, and for the Silas, and for the Mundo. How do you feel about Lake Game team fights?
It's really gonna, I think, come down to how well they can keep that Silas and Poppy off of the Caitlyn in terms of CGI winning them, and I think in terms of DZG winning them, it's gonna be how... it's going to be if they can get a pick before the fight, I think. I think that CGI does win those team fights, especially with the Zac, with the Set being able to launch most engages back onto that team.
That's a good point. Actually, if Set, funny interaction, if Set ults a Mundo who still has passive, they do, I believe, spot the Poppy there. So Set's not backing off. Feathers might just get ganked and die here, but maybe he's just baiting to draw the Poppy's attention, and she will start her back. So perfectly fine here. He's just wasting our time. This is actually a pretty decent trade for the Silas. He has a blasting wand in comparison to absolutely nothing but the starting items. So Poppy did cancel her back and actually has to start it again. So Zac is getting quite far ahead here, and we did say that Poppy has to do enough to make up for how much less power she's going to have in comparison to Zac later on. But, you know, with the Fed Silas, anything can happen.
It is gold. told, there can be a throw at Baron. You know how it is.
Man, there's throws at Baron even in LCK Challengers. The T1 Baron became a meme for a reason. Zaya Rakan actually up a little bit in farm once this wave collects, so doing perfectly fine here. They have been shoved in, which means Zach was able to get bot side Scuttle and Vision in the Poppy's jungle. They know where Poppy is, or they should. We'll continue to track these junglers, but I think things are going... Uh-oh, that's not good. Man, one of the things about Silas is if he does get to the point where he can stat stick you, he stat sticks you.
Oh,
Guys,
yes.
insane base damages, insane scalings, huge heals. Man. Poppy does find Zach here. Will stun him into the wall, but I don't think she wins this fight. Maybe I'm actually misunderstanding. Maybe I'm underestimating this Poppy.
Maybe if she had a Sheen instead of the...
Yeah. Greedy Poppy does proc the Zac passive, but absolutely not worth it. Chasing the Poppy back when both the mid laner and the bot laners have taken a full recall. It was a cheater recall from bot lane, so they'll be back in time to catch the wave, but Hello Beeper and Rakan should be back in time to catch the wave coming back to them. So bot lane should just equalize again. Teleports are matched mid. Mundo has teleport advantage top. I don't know how that happened. Wait, no. Wait, no.
Just turned the corner and found a kitchen sink and throw it at her.
I'm confused. Okay. Top lane for... the scoreboard's messing me up. Well, in any case, Mundo is farming more than okay, so hopefully... That was due to some attention by Poppy. It looks... Oh, man. Oh, 3 triple gank mid, and it looks like they are just committed to getting the Silas ahead, so... That's not what you want to see if you're an IT fan, which I hope most of you are.
Oh, man. It's going to be a rough game for Feathers and Fur. I know I would be tilted beyond belief, truth be told, after that second gank.
One of the interesting things to think about is that, okay, actually, plate's going down bot side. It should be fine. I mean, it should be good. So, one of the things to think about is the biggest difference between top lane and mid lane is the awareness of jungle pattern, the awareness of jungle timings, that kind of thing, right? You can play similar champs in each, but they function very differently. Like a Cho'Gath mid is very different than a Cho'Gath top. Ooh, man, he's getting ganked again. Is Zac... Oh, can he kill him? Very nice. Does get the Poppy killed. Poppy's now died twice. Going a bit overeager both times, but you know, if what you get ahead is your Silas, I think that's worth it. Rakan did take a kill, which is not great for Disco. But he did manage to pick it, or did he not?
No, I don't think he did.
He's not shining, so he must not have. Sort of looked halfway. Mundo does have his ult, so he could just heal up, but if he doesn't, there's a solo kill angle. Well, never mind, he's healing up passively. That's a lot of healing. And Feathers and Fur finally becoming much more... Okay, buffering that very nicely, getting the shield, still losing the trade. Man, this Silas with the Blasting Wand alone is just scary. Man. I'm going to write my 59 theses on why... on the Legend balance. If you could... Go ahead.
Look at a pretty neutral, slow start to this game, truth be told, with Zac took Herald, you see their bot lane taking Dragon.
Yeah. Farm equal in pretty much every lane. Mundo beginning to open up a bit of an advantage here, but that shouldn't be too much of a problem as long as Silas manages to complete his Gorgon group. That is Gorgon he's going towards, right? There's nothing else. Oh, or he could be going the Blade of the Ruin King build, which is specifically for dealing with champions like me.
Yeah, and it also helps with just being able to stick on a target, especially as set.
Poppy. Oh, there's a gank happening bot lane. Sorry.
Oh.
Nope. Looks like Poppy's just backing away. The camera moved away right at the wrong time. Yeah. Okay, and Set is actually caught up almost completely in CS. There must have been a huge wave stacked or something. Huh.
I'm thinking most of that gold, especially that we're seeing with about a 200 gold differential, is mostly coming from the jungle. Zach being at 72 farm, whereas Poppy is at 47. And also Zach up. Well, no, they're even in assists, so.
And when you're ahead on Zach against a ganking jungler, there's just nothing that feels safer, right? Unless all your laners are dying repeatedly, you're sitting pretty. Set taking a good bit of damage here, but should just be able to back and walk up. Might lose a wave actually, but you know, not the end of the world. Mundo might get a plate. Bot lane. Can bot lane take 3 or 4 plates here?
Well, they should get at least 2 from, I think 2 from the charge. However, after that, the towers do get stronger. Oh, it is 3, but towers do get stronger after they lose plates, especially with more champions being around them. So,
and
really,
Zach
once
had
you
his...
get the first 3 plates, it's just impossible to kind of take the tower unless you really have a good push going.
And again, Clown Gaming showing some of that team attention that they did last game. One of the things that Elysium didn't do as well last game was when to take back timings. Their bot lane in particular was staying to punish as much as possible without taking backs that would actually support the team. But now you can see Seraphine's heading mid. Kaelin's barely going to lose anything. And if there's not an objective up, but you just stop them from being able to do anything obnoxious here.
We just wait and see if Clown can keep this, albeit very little gold lead.
Yeah.
And hopefully transform it into something much bigger.
Mundo is up an entire component on Set, actually. Nice dodge there from Feathers and Fur. That second part of the Q has, what is it, an 80% AP ratio? I don't think it's 90 anymore. But
I don't know the ratios, if I'm honest with you. I just know playing Silas is dash, slap, slap, dash, slap, slap, Q, slap, slap.
Yep. Okay, can this 2v2... Who wins this 2v2? I don't think it's Kit. But...
I think, given the items, it's going to be the side of DZG winning a 2v2. Granted, the Zac passive does come up, however...
Oh
man.
Zac...
Series of unfortunate events.
Man, yeah, Silas goes under tower, eats a turret shot there. The last auto from Feathers and Fur does get his... Did Feathers and Fur flash out of the chains, or did he flash in for the auto? I missed that. Either way, very well played by it. And this tower bot lane should go down. Yeah. More gold over to this... Okay, Caitlyn's getting bound here. Caitlyn also doesn't... Very, very nice flash. Oh, never mind. She's still dead. If she had flashed the engage, that would have been much... Or flashed the feathers, that would have been ideal. Zyrakan, all-ins?
Is Seraphine fall? No, Seraphine stays alive, huh?
The real unfortunate thing is that Kaelin didn't have just a teeny bit more gold. If she had been able to pick up this wave, as you can see, she's sitting on 556. You need like just over 600, 625, I think, to complete that item. So Zac does get this tiny shutdown, but the dragon will go over to Disco, and that's the second dragon. That's not something you want to be giving over. With the possibility of Mountain Drake or something. Let's see what it is. And that's what it is, Mountain Soul. I'm a prophet. With Mountain Soul coming up, you really don't want Mountain Soul on your opponent on your opponent's team. Can we see the 4-stack mountain on it? We just get ridiculous, unholy amounts of armor and MR.
Unholy amounts of MR and armor would be correct. But it looks like DZG is really starting to play with the little leads and tempo that they do have now, looking towards Herald, but backing off and deciding against just starting it right away.
So looking at the itemization, Silas did indeed go for the anti-tank build, or more like the 1v1 build just in general. Actually, we might see a gank here top lane. Silas is not going to overextend. Sed was not going to overextend, so Silas's time seems wasted unless... they can't even dive here because the wave's arriving. And Caitlyn's just wave clearing mid lane perfectly fine. There's enough of a counter dive. Man, it is... Oh, that's not good. Good flash, gets away from the Recon W, and it manages to walk away with nothing more than the flash off their Seraphine. So, good overall. We'll see if they can contest for this Rift Herald, or if Feathers is just going to try to push up on this second tier 2 tower. Looks like that's going to... Ooh, man, they don't even manage to get damage on that. Well, they're up in gold, so the Rift Herald should equalize that a bit. Looks...
Yeah, and hopefully should be able to get them back on the map with taking a tower or two of their own. But it's still a little early to tell where and if they when and if they decide to use that.
Yeah. The items. Caitlyn did go for the Gale Force this time, as opposed to Hello Beeper's Caitlyn in the last game. I do think Gale Force is just the correct option on Caitlyn, 85-90% of the time. Caitlyn doesn't punch through tanks that well anyway till 4 items, and by the time you're at 4 items, a bit of flat damage doesn't matter, even if it is true damage. So, I like to see the Gale Force. You can't pump out damage while you're dead, right? Xayah does go for the Kraken Slayer, will be much higher DPS if she can free hit in these early fights. But the reason I bring up itemization is look at Zac.
I was about to point that out too. We are
Silas just doing Silas things. Set just doing Set things. Flash, punched in the face. Oh, just one flash. But yeah, Silas is going to go down, and that makes me happy.
Everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face. Famous words by that.
That's words to live life by. Don't get punched in the face. Now, Silas...
League of Legends things. Mundo has a bounty, even though he is 0-0 and 0.
How do I hide this? Yeah.
Oh, that is a fake Seraphine ulti, and Poppy stops the Zac jump. Oh, all right. This is just a massacre.
Anyone in chat know how to hide the timer for spoilers?
There is a button for it. I don't remember what the button is.
Yeah, me neither. Oh, here we go.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Okay. There we go. Problem solved. And we're back into game. The dragon is coming up very soon. It is positioned quite well around here. They've cleared out the vision, which means they might be able to get a pick, but it's really hard to pick Xayah or Rakan. So looks like they'll just try to make sure they have the mid wave controlled and then clear and then positioned so that Elysium can't get in.
Nope, they
Here
are
they come.
just forced to give up this dragon. I was about to say too, Clown Gaming it's at a 3,300 gold lead at the moment. I mean, usually games are pretty much over at about what?
Okay,
5-6K.
Poppy interrupts. Very good stolen. Caitlyn is free hitting. Oh, and the set just gets into the backline, but man, you cannot kill the Silas through the healing. Late Seraphine ulti comes out, but does hit 3 and totally turns the fight around. Brilliant Gale Force by Caitlyn takes out her counterpart in the Xayah. And every member of Clown Gaming just played that fight so brilliantly. I mean, Zach got his engage stuffed, but then, Poppy was out of position for the set to just wombo into the enemy team with a hit almost everyone with that ult, and then the follow-up stun. And then the Seraphine holding her ult even while under dire threat until the very last moment manages to hit the 3 remaining members of Disco Elysium. And that means Baron for it.
Yep, and there's that 6K gold lead I was talking about. I would say that this is in the bag for Clown Gaming it. We should see very few lost fights after this.
Poppy flashes in, maybe trying to stop some backs, but that is a Blade of the Ruin King set. You do not want to 1v1 that guy, even if it is a 1v1, which it's, obviously not.
I don't want to flame, but Poppy, what were you thinking, my guy?
Yeah. Let's just call it optimistic. Even if Poppy does stop backs, they don't get anything off of it.
Not in the slightest. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Maybe I can be filled in later, but...
Oh well. Interesting. Feathers and Fur on the Urgot just went in and straight up bought a not a Serrated Dirk, what is that? Prowler's Claw. So...
My head hurts. This game makes my head hurt. There's so many strange things going on.
Yeah, I don't know if I picture Urgot as the kind to go full squishy and then yeet yourself into the enemy team. But...
Why does Urgot Prowler's Claw? Why does Zach have... Oh.
Riftmaker Zach from ahead actually sounds really obnoxious to play against. Because he already heals so ridiculously much just from his passive things, that if he's also healing off all the damage he does to you, AP Zach is no joke. Okay. Stun onto Caitlyn here. Seraphine does manage to charm 4, and Caitlyn gets out! Silas has to back out now. He cannot get to the Caitlyn. Oh, brilliant. And,
oh my god, those fights.
Yeah, you're kind of seeing the money, but you're also just seeing brilliant plays from it. Seraphine managing to flash out of the engage and then charm 3 people, the 3 people involved. Man, Caitlyn surviving that is the craziest part to me. Now that's what happens when the Silas is put sufficiently behind. And 2 inhibitors going down. It'll be a miracle for Disco Elysium to come back from a 12k gold lead. But again, this is not just lane dominance. This is not solo queue plays, right? This is coordination in team fights. This is individual amazing communication. I don't know if it's individual when you're trusting your teammates to protect you until the opportune moment, but I'm really, really impressed by it.
I would say in true Clown Gaming fashion, you give them what they want, tell them how to don't even tell them what to build and let them play however they want to play. You get Clown Gaming it on with all pistons firing and a game that just confuses outsiders looking in.
Yeah.
Peak Clown Gaming it. That's it. That's all there is to say. This is peak it.
Yeah, Rakan went the Shirelias, which, is what you go on Rakan every game. The there was a recent LCK game. I think it was T1 versus Damwon, where Rakan was picked, but his team got behind, and he couldn't really do anything because he would W in and instantly die. And I feel like this Kaylin with the Infinity Edge, with the Gale Force, if she Gale Forces and gets a headshot crit, the Rakan basically dies.
I mean, I think the Rakan basically dies wherever he goes in, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean that's true. Like we've got the full lethality Urgot on top here. We've got the set who can immune his CC and carry him out of the team. I don't. Given to be fair, there's few compositions that you want to be taking team fights with a 10,000 gold deficit, but it seems pretty difficult to even imagine a way in which, like, is there a perfect engage? Is there a perfect kite back? Is there any possible way that Disco wins a 5v5?
I'm just not seeing it.
Yeah, as long as everyone presses their buttons, you just can't win. Okay, good pullback on the Xayah feathers. Maybe if you poke with the Xayah and the... Okay, good stop on the Zac engage, although I don't think Zac actually wanted to take that engage either. Now, Poppy. Poppy is something I had not considered. Poppy can make a 5v5 with 4.
They're attempting to do knocking the Zac out, but Zac's just going to get right back in there.
Disgusting. It's just unkilled and unkillable. Oh man, even Seraphine's surviving here, gonna heal from her W, and without the oh no, he does. Set doesn't flash in time, and the Seraphine does go down, ruining that 17 KDA. But Clown Gaming's It will take the fight in a pretty one-sided stomp of Game 2. And, this reminds me of the way that T1 plays. And, yeah, I keep bringing up LCK, but, like, the scary thing about Korea has always been that they don't have to dominate you in lane. They kind of just trade stuff. They might go down an objective or something, but there comes a moment where they just decide to win. And you're like, oh, okay, I guess you win. And that feels like what it did this game. They had better coordination. They had better team fighting. They had better map movement. They won one fight, got a Baron, ended the game. End of story.
Well, I mean, that concludes the best of 3, I believe. I believe it's a best of 3 tonight. Either way, I mean, after a Game 2 like that, I wouldn't want to go into a Game 3.
Yeah.
Truth be told.
Yeah. Man. Might be a good thing for the mental of Disco that they don't have a Game 3. But either way, that is us. That is it for us tonight, and we'll see you next time. This is Acute Snake, A5, and Kappa Crusader.
Have a good night, everybody.